Now, Joseph is a person, I start to say a character, a person we read about in the Bible. He really lived and died in this earth. He was destined, if you will, or not, maybe not for him, but God chose him, might be the best way, to save his chosen people from a famine that God had planned on coming to straighten out the world. And Joseph goes through all kinds of tests in his lifetime. And he passes each and every test. But part of his troubles began when his dad played such favorites with him. You know, he just had 11 brothers. I believe Benjamin's been born this time, I'm not sure. At least 10 brothers. And nobody else gets a pretty coat except for Joseph. Of course, Joseph is a son of Jacob's favorite wife. And that's part of it too. Having more than one wife. But he buys him a coat of many colors. But Jacob is endowed by the Lord with the ability to interpret dreams. He not only has dreams, but he is able to interpret them. And he has some dreams of his own, and he tells them to his brothers, and this makes them even more jealous. What were those dreams? Anybody remember? It doesn't say his brothers would bow down to him, but it said his sheaves or his yeah. That was it. That was interpreted that his brothers would bow down to him, and also the second dream was that even his father would bow down to him. This just infuriated them. Another thing that infuriated the brothers is that he sent Joseph out to check on them. They were out working, they're supposed to be working in the fields, and they wasn't taking care of the animals. And so he comes back with a bad report about his brothers. Well, they're just off monkeying around. They're not taking care of them sheep.
Started out as a tattletale.
Started out as a tattletale. Besides having that pretty jacket on, he was tattletale.
He was also a half-brother.
Huh?
He was also a half-brother to most of them.
Well, he was half-brother. Yeah, he was half-brother to all of it. All the other, yeah. They was all, yeah, they're all, well, not, yeah, they're all mixed up. You know, they're all, with 4 wives, you know, nobody's actually 100% kin to anybody else just about, you know. And of course, like I say, his mother was the favorite wife. And all the women knew that. But which leads me, to wonder, well, why did God allow Jacob to, if God could see all the problems this was going to have, why did he, why didn't he say, hey, you guys just stop it one woman, That's true.
Dreams he had.
Yeah, that's right. I had a wild, I'm not going to tell everybody what, but I had a really wild one last night.
And I don't want to hear it.
Huh?
I don't want to hear what it was.
No, I mean, it was about the church house at Leakwart. And that's as far as I'm going to get. And Linda Harp was over there, and as far as I know, she don't ever go over there. She was in it. She was calling me, telling me what was going wrong over there. She's not in here right now, so she can't hear me. But
Things really must have been really bad, didn't
I guarantee you, I don't know what I ate last night, but I hope I don't eat it because it causes some real bad nightmares. But anyway. But anyway, like you said, you're right. He could not control the dreams he had, just as the people he interpreted their dreams, they couldn't control the dreams they had. But God allowed him to interpret them. So the brothers decided, well, we just kill that rascal. And Reuben, who is the oldest one, he better not do that. So he talks him into throwing him in a pit. Now, it mentions that the pit was dry. They didn't throw him down in a pit that's full of water. But anyway, they threw him in a dry pit. One he couldn't get out of. And Reuben had determined to go back and get him later, and rescue him and send him home. But what happens in the meantime? Traitors. What does it call them traitors? What? Ishmaelites. Which would be what? Distant cousins, wouldn't it? Half cousins or whatever you want to say. Ishmaelite traders came by. And so that, well, we'll just sell him to them. We'll take his coat and tear it a little while, and they killed the goat and dipped it all in blood, and they didn't really tell their father that a bear got him or a lion got him or whatever. He just, here's his coat and it's torn and it's got full of blood. Well, an animal's got him and tore him up. That's what's happened to him. He just assumed the worst. But if they sell him, you need something, Benny? You can't. I always blame it on Bob and them little earmuffs he's got on, but I don't have them on, so. Let's get a new engineer, I guess. Anyway, they sell him to these Ishmaelites, and the Ishmaelites takes him to Egypt. Remember, this is all part of God's plan. But you notice as we go through Joseph's life, each and every place that he gets into, which would seem like it is really bad, he ends up coming to the top. They sell him to a guard, it says a captain of the guard of Pharaoh. What is that fellow's name? Potiphar. Sells him to Potiphar. And it isn't long before he's running Potiphar's house for him. All that Potiphar knows is what he's going to eat that day, because Joseph is taking care of everything else. Now in chapter 38, it's already the custom if a son dies and he's married and he dies and he has no children, give that woman to the next son. Well, that guy, he doesn't want her to have the heir, so he pulls some shenanigans and God killed him. And so he says, well, wait on my youngest son. He's pretty young. And then when he gets old enough, he can still going to give it to her. He's pretty young. And she tricks him. And she becomes pregnant by her father-in-law. in that day and time, your signet, that's enough people under your staff. It was different, and so he said, she has been more wise than I've been, because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. These other sons. When we get to Potiphar,
I've always found it fascinating that 37 it introduces us into Joseph's life, and all of a sudden 38 takes us into this other dark place. And then we go back to Joseph. I've just always wondered why.
yeah, well, what's the purpose of jumping from one to the other, you think?
The best I can come up with is just the idea that it shows us in the midst of Joseph's life, and other than the early time in Joseph's life, when he wasn't a tattletale, he was the chosen son, given preference and all that stuff. Those are just, to me, growing pains. But once you get into 39, I mean, from there on, it's obvious that Joseph, not only did God have a plan for him, but Joseph was all in on God's plan for him. And he was very, I mean, it says several times that God blessed Joseph in everything that he did. And so you contrast that life with the life of sin that was in chapter 38. And, I think that's giving us a picture of what sin can do to a person's life in the dreams.
Right. And another thing that you brought out, when he was home, he was a victim of letters, so to speak, and he was he was tattletale, he was daddy's favorite and whatever. But once he became a slave, he was all on his own. God was the only person he had to, because he knew nobody else. He became God's faithful servant from then on. He grew up. He was no longer the favorite, he had to make it on his own. And he did. In every place he went to after that, he made it on his own with God's help, and he rose to the top each and every occasion. See, at the head of Potiphar's house, it says that the only thing Potiphar knew is what he got to get that day. Joseph took care of all the business of the house. He took care of the servants. He took care of all the day-to-day things. And then Potiphar's wife, she gets her eye out for him, I guess you'd say. And he said, my master says I can have everything in this house but you. I'm going to do what my master says. So she tears his clothes off, and he runs off, and of course she claims that he's molested her. There's no trial, there's no question, they just go straight in jail. And so, but he's not in a regular jail, he's in the jail with Pharaoh's people. People Pharaoh had put in jail. He's in a higher class jail, if you will, than probably the normal would be. And what does he do there? He rises to the top there. While he's in that jail. A few years ago I saw it, I'm not trying to run down sight and sound here deal, but they had Joseph when he was in prison, they had him chained up. Well, he wasn't chained up. Scripture said he had to run the prison. He was the guy right under the jailer. He took care of everything else. He rose to the top. And we had some more dreams. One of the two fellows have a dream. What is their occupations, or what are their him, and then many times the cupbearer would have to taste it first. Be sure somebody hadn't put poison in the king's cup.
That's a similar position that Nehemiah had, I think,
Okay?
starting out.
It was a very important position. You know, it's more than just a book when guys open, shut the door, you know, and got the key closed. He was an official taste tester, if you will. God made sure the king didn't get poisoned. What was the other fellow's occupation? He was a baker. Both of them had a dream, different dreams. So I won't get messed up on another reading. Chief cupbearer told, I'm in verse 9, chapter 4. The chief cupbearer told his dream of Joseph and said to him, in my dream, behold, there was a vine in front of me, and on the vine there were 3 branches. And as it was budding, its blossoms came out, and its clusters produced ripe grapes. Now Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and so I took the grapes and squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I put the cup into Pharaoh's hand. Joseph then interpreted the dreams, and after 3 days you'll be Pharaoh's going to lift you back up to your regular position.
Even before he gives the interpretation, even before he gives the interpretation of the dreams, though, he lets them know that, you know, interpretations belong to God.
Interpretations belong to God. Yeah, it is again.
Before he ever even heard what their dreams were.
But then he tells him, he said, now, you remember me, you know, you get a chance to, you know, I'm telling you, you know, I'm going to make you tell you what it's all about. God clearly, you know, is telling you this, you remember, but he doesn't for a long time. He got all the troubles he had. And in verse 16 says, when the chief baker saw that he interpreted favorably, he said to Joseph, I also saw in my dream, and behold, there were 3 baskets of black bread on my head. In the top basket there was some of all sorts of baked food for Pharaoh, and the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head. And Joseph answered and said, this is the interpretation of 3 baskets for 3 days. Then 3 more days Pharaoh will lift up your head from you, and will hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh off you. That's interpreted. So both of them was going to happen in 3 days, and in 3 days Pharaoh had a big party, and he restores the butler in his position, and he hangs the baker. What the baker did to make him mad, I don't know to start out with it. But he didn't ever regain the favor of the king. Time is about up. Why don't we wait right there and we'll start 2 weeks from today. We'll start there on chapter 41, because then the Pharaoh's going to have some dreams, and it's going to begin to show a more clearly God's plan for Joseph, and more God's plan for Jacob and his family, and the preservation of the Israelites. So we start on chapter 41.